Good afternoon, everyone. I believe now you know me as well as my wife, so that's great to hear. I believe this is maybe the worst time for a talk because we just had lunch and this is the excellent time to have a nap. But I hope that you won't need that nap, okay? As Pedro said, I work as a product owner here, and today I will try to let you know a little bit the challenges that a remote product owner faces at Mindera. So just please bear with me. This is not advancing. Why is not moving the slide? Okay, now it is. Oh, sorry. Okay. First of all, let me give you some context. I'm Paulo, working as a product owner here at Mindera since 2019. Already with experience with office-based teams and also distributed teams, okay? And before we move forward in the talk, let me give you some context about Mindera before we start. So here we essentially sell services, right? We have our own products, but I will say that the core business is selling services. And this means that the PO role has some specificities, right? You are part of a dev team, as you can see. The dev team will be different from project to project, but you have usually a product owner. This guy usually also has some responsibilities in the delivery manager world, maybe a little bit of Scrum Master, right? So it's not the typical product owner. And you work alongside with front-end devs, back-end devs, quality assurance engineers, and guys that handle the infrastructure, okay? So this perhaps will change a little bit between projects, but it's most likely always like this. And the dev team interacts a lot with the stakeholders, right? You might deal with product managers, the CTO, some backend developers from your client, UX designers, etc. You can think about a role and you interact with them, right? But as a product owner, it is your responsibility to shield a little bit the team, right? So you are kind of a bridge between the client and the dev team. And although you are part of the dev team, you most likely work a little more here in the middle, right? In order to shield the team, in order to allow the team to concentrate on the dev tasks, okay? So I think this explanation is important for the context of this talk. So let's crack on now, and I would like you to tell a story, okay? So it's 2019, right? Remote POs is not something that didn't exist in the past, so there were always remote POs, but I'm pretty sure that the majority were working at the offices, right? So I think this was the reality back in 2019. And office life is good. You have your team with you. You can fly to visit your clients. So basically you are living the dream, right? Because you can interact in office with the team. You can go there to the client's headquarters. You chat with them. You collect the requirements. Then you refine with your team. So it's kind of living the dream. Your life is good, right? But then you have March 2020, right? And you find yourself at home, alone with your family, perhaps kids all over the place. Everything is a mess. You perhaps might have a monitor or not, a proper chair to work, right? But there is a constant. Your responsibilities are still the same, right? You still need to bring value to your clients. You still need to keep delivering. You still need to maintain your team motivated. So the challenges are the same, but your reality is completely different. But when you have new challenges, you have to overcome these challenges, right? Because you still need to bring value to your clients. Your clients are paying for your work, so you can't fail, right? You need to continue to deliver. And I believe now what I will like to share with you guys is I want to share the main challenges faced by a remote product owner. A small disclaimer, this is a personal opinion, okay? It is based on experience, but is obviously open to debate, and hopefully we can talk a little bit after this conversation. The first challenge, and perhaps the most important one, the physical expressions, right? Because as a product owner, you need to, let's say, read people, right? You need to understand their faces. You need to understand if your message is being delivered, if someone is understanding your words. So there is no room for ambiguity, right? Ambiguity will cost a lot. And the problem is, when you don't have a physical access to people, it's hard to detect boredom, it's hard to detect enthusiasm. Sometimes even the bandwidth is a problem and the camera needs to be off. So how do you understand if the message is being delivered? So I guess for this challenge, my advice is at the end of each key sentence, you always confirm if everyone is on the same page, okay? This is totally important because ambiguity will bring costs to the project and nobody wants to pay more than what they should pay, okay? And I think this is perhaps the most important one, and that's why I've added in the first place. Something quite important when you are part of the team, one-on-ones, right? It is quite important to talk face-to-face with your peers. Because sometimes you might get blocked trying to understand the best way to write a meaningful user story, right? Because as a product owner, the majority of your time is either collecting requirements or translating that into user stories, into epics, whatever, okay? And breaking down those into incremental tasks. Sometimes you get blocked, and all you need is to talk a little bit more with some experienced teammate by having a coffee, maybe a beer. I am a fan of table tennis, so table tennis usually also works. So please keep in mind that human interactions are essential. So you need to be very creative on finding a not so bad approach, right? Because if you are remote, you don't have physical access, so you need to replace with something. So be creative and try to get advantage of these one-on-ones, but keep in mind that they are really harder. When you are totally on lockdown, you can't be very creative, so you need the computer. But at the current time, you might, I don't know, try to go for a paddle with your peer and you can discuss something in there, or you might go for a jogging, okay? So be creative. The world has changed, so you need to adapt to this new reality. Something quite challenging. As you might be aware, as a PO, a huge part of your time is spent on collecting and understanding requirements that your stakeholders provide to you, right? And then you need to translate these business initiatives to user stories that can be understood and refined by your team. A remote PO working remotely increases a lot the challenge of refining requirements with your team. Just, I don't know, imagine that you want to refine a certain flow, and if you are at the office, perhaps you have a whiteboard, and you can, I don't know, draw some flows, or you can draw some diagrams, and it's better for the team to understand. But when you are at home, you don't have the whiteboard. So, okay, you have Miro, you have Lucidchart, perhaps, but it is harder to convey the message, okay? So that's why refinement sessions are quite challenging. Even when it comes to estimate, right? If you are in the same room, perhaps someone will just raise the cell phone and will say, okay, I think this is a 5, I think this is an 8. But at home, okay, you have tools, but it's harder because sometimes the bandwidth will cause that not everyone will be able to vote at the same time. So you can see the challenges that you have to estimate, and also to make sure that a person won't be biased by the votes of the other person because the other guy voted first, okay? So it's quite challenging. And I sincerely advise you guys to spend a lot of time on these refinements, perhaps a refinement session that can last 1 hour if you are in the same place, perhaps schedule something for 1 hour and a half, because these 30 minutes will be very important. And in fact, you will win time in the end, right? You won't lose time. Something that I feel a lot, perhaps you as well, Zoom fatigue. Because when I say Zoom, you can say Hangouts or whatever, right? It's just being online, on calls. Perhaps as a product owner, you might be involved in 3 or 4 30-minute calls, perhaps sometimes even more. And at the end of the day, you just think, I don't know if I did anything else except attending calls, okay? So I think you will find yourself quite tired if you don't find a correct balance between your tasks, okay? The other day I was reading something from Elon Musk, and he says something like this: if you don't think you will bring value to a call, or if you find yourself in a call and you feel that you are not adding value anymore, it's okay to drop, or it's okay for you not to attend, okay? So plan your calls as much as you can, always providing a clear agenda on the topics that you want to discuss, and also making sure that in between calls, you have the proper time to handle different tasks, okay? It's quite important because as a product owner, the backlog is always waiting for you, okay? There is always one acceptance criteria that needs to be added before something is ready for the team to pick up or for the team to estimate, okay? So a proper balance is quite important for you to succeed as a remote product owner. Don't be a pain in the ass, okay? This is quite important because when you are not in the same space as your team, you won't have visibility on what they are doing. So perhaps let's imagine we are in the same room. I can see that you are totally focused on a given task, so I won't interrupt you, right? Even if I have a doubt, I will wait to see that you are more able to talk to me, right? But if you are at home, I don't know. I just don't know if you are busy or not, okay? You can mark yourself as busy, or you can mark yourself as online, right? I don't know what you are doing. So please make sure that you can respect the space of your team members, and also make sure that you provide moments where communication can happen, right? This is key because your team doesn't want to be interrupted, right? At the end of the day, they have committed to deliver something. And if you keep on interrupting the people, they won't be delivering what they have committed to, and they will be frustrated. And please be sure that the quality of your product will suffer. Not only a bit. Here I said a bit, but in fact, it can affect a lot the quality of your product. So I don't know, maybe try to talk to your team, perhaps maybe by the end of the day, or I don't know, maybe after lunch, I don't know. But find key moments for the communication to flow. Don't just ad hoc send requests to speak to the guys, okay? So this is quite important. Steam off moments, okay? So we at Mindera are advocates of agile methodologies, and I guess maybe 90% of our teams work according to the Scrum framework. And by the end of each sprint, we have retro sessions, right? And we can all discuss what went well, what went wrong. We have different formats. Each team will perhaps select a different approach. But nevertheless, we need to steam off sometimes, right? It is quite important just, I don't know, to say some bad words or just kick something else, okay? Because you really need to steam off and remove some pressure, right? Release some pressure. So I guess that sometimes all you need to do is having a conversation with someone about a given issue. And if you are in the same space, it's easy. You just, look, please walk with me. Let's go for a walk, or let's go for a beer, and I can speak with you, and you can speak with me, and we just discuss what is happening. But when at home, these type of problems can become a bit bigger than usually, because I think that quite often people keep their issues to themselves. And if you don't promote moments for you to steam off with your team, and if you are always waiting for the retrospectives, I think the issues will just increase and increase, and people will perhaps leave the project, I don't know, or even they will try to leave the company. But if you allow them to steam off, perhaps they will be more happy because a given problem won't increase a lot, right? So I guess the advice is don't wait for the retro sessions. Try to promote steam off sessions, maybe a beer Friday, I don't know. It can work. Or maybe every week to have a virtual coffee break with your team. And that will help to release a little bit the stress and the pressure. And I guess this is last but not least, to build a strong team spirit is quite challenging when everyone is working remotely. And in fact, some teams can be built totally during a pandemic or during a lockdown, right? This happened in a project that I am part. We built a team during lockdown. So during a great amount of months, we never met each other. We were only via Zoom or via Slack talking to each other. So there was no physical relation between ourselves, And it was easy for the guys, even myself, to be self-centered, right? I was only sometimes thinking about my own problems. I was not thinking about the other guys' problems. But as a PO, you need to realize, wait, I need to stop this mindset because there is no I in team. The communication must flow between everyone. And you need to promote a culture where your problem is my problem, because at the end of the day, your problem will affect me. If not at the end of the day, maybe in 2 weeks' time. So build a strong team spirit is quite important, and also to ensure that there is a lot of trust between all the team members. So always try to promote a safe environment for your peers to work. This is quite important. So I guess, what do you think? I don't know, do you see yourself facing the same challenges? Have you experienced different challenges? I guess it would be great to have a cool chat about this subject. If not now, maybe during the coffee break, okay? I will be here, I will be available. I would like to discuss and also understand your vision. It would be awesome. But before I conclude, I just want to state that either at the office or at home, we use technology to build products we are proud of. And this is key with people we love, okay? People is key for you to deliver something that is great, okay? And we also party a lot. So I invite you to visit us at one of our offices. You are here today. You can also visit us in Coimbra, in Aveiro. The guys are attending virtually this session. So thanks a lot for attending this call. And I am open to receive any questions, if not now, during the coffee break.
During the remote model, have you felt...
Can you speak a little bit louder? Sorry.
During the remote model, have you felt as a product owner that the product and the requirements themselves have changed?
Can you just repeat the question so that people...
Oh, so you are basically asking if during lockdown I realized that requirements
changing, because you're talking about work method and communication, but the product stayed the same, or new requirements were being added to...
Okay, so...
adjust to the remote situation.
No. So the question is if the requirements changed because of the lockdown and because of the need to adapt to a new reality. No, the answer is no, because as I said, you still need to add the same value that was requested by your client. What perhaps changed a little bit is at the beginning, what usually would take you a sprint, perhaps would take you 2 sprints, right? Because there was a new reality and there was the need to adapt. And even you can think about some mental health problems that happened, right? Because people were struggling. I am at home. I can't do anything else except being here, right? So the requirements themselves have not changed, but some adjustments were needed. And at the beginning, most likely, the timescales that you have provided to deliver something, they increased a little bit for a certain amount of time.
I'm asking this because, let's say I have a product that relies on, let's say I'm the owner of some social media network, and usually I get not so much traffic, but during the lockdown situation I have huge spikes because everyone is at home and using my social network. So I was asking if the new requirements are added to...
Okay, I understand, but maybe, so if I understand right, you are perhaps talking a little bit more about infrastructure things. Maybe not about requirements, maybe about infrastructure that you have. I'm not sure if that is more the question.
I'm asking, no, it's more non-functional requirements. So the requirements are the same, but now they have to accommodate this many users, this traffic.
Yes. But that is, I understand. So, and just trying to repeat the question for everyone at home to understand. Okay, so the non-functional requirements, if they have changed, in that case, I would say they have changed in the sense that more people perhaps will use your system in a different way. But I guess that is only maybe related with load tests that you need to to increase a little bit more, or even perhaps pay extra attention to the infrastructure if it is able to accommodate, I don't know, 30% more of accesses. So yeah, in that case, yes, the non-functional requirements, they didn't change, but you need to adapt, you know, to a new reality. So it's prudent for you to increase a little bit and try to enhance in that area. But the requirements themselves, I don't think they have changed.
And from this remote model, is something good come out of it? So as a product owner, it felt like you learned something that wasn't possible if the remote model didn't happen?
Yeah, so answering your question, if the remote model gave me more capabilities of handle different situations, the answer is yes, because I think you become, you listen more to the people. You need to be more focused on what the guys are talking to you, right? Because if you're at the office, sometimes you are just, okay, I understand. But at home, you are totally focused on the message. So at least I am a better listener now, for sure. And I guess, yeah, that was the best outcome from this remote model. Anything else, guys? Okay.
It's quite interesting that I came up with this talk because in 2020 I passed the same thing. I left a team that I knew every single person physically, and I joined a new team when and I didn't know any of the guys. I will start to work with them, and we create in those times a connection between all of us that allow us to work together in a way that my previous team didn't have. And that was a fantastic thing that the remote work brings to the team, and allowing us to work better and communicate better. Communication is really a key in those times.
And just out of curiosity, how was the feeling when you first met in person? How did that?
It was finally I really knew the guys that I am working with them since June 2020, and it was something that in the past we took as granted, and only new people after 6 months or 11 months or 12 months. It's a lot. It's a lot of time, and it is really hard making this step and really trusting in other people that we don't know in the past, and I trust him. I trust the guy, and they will do their job. And if they need help, I will go there and help them.
Yeah, indeed.
And in the same way, feel the same approach of the other person.
Yeah, it's all about building the amazing team spirit that you need to work with guys that you have never met in person. And then it's funny to realize that, okay, look, that guy is taller than I expect, or he is smaller, or the voice sounds different. And it's quite cool the first time that you meet in person. It's really, really cool. It's amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you guys, any questions? No? Greg, no? No questions at all?
I got no.
All right, so if that's the case, I will be around for a couple of more hours. Okay, feel free to chat. And thanks for attending this talk.